Okay, final round. See what happens. We finally won a die roll. And this hand is very mediocre, but not bad enough to mulligan. Below mediocre, actually. So this happens. The rats, they thrive. Aether Poisoner comes in. And I decide I need to have the options. I can either just play Implement and crack it, probably, just to try and get deeper. Just go ahead and play out a card to the board. It can, if their likely play is they want to turn Thriving Rats into a 3/4, and this can just block a 3/4 and keep us fine on life, so we can win eventually by drawing a bunch more cards than their opponent. The opponent does beat down. We block, take one, no big deal here. It's I mean, if they can crew it, this is a big deal, but it's definitely a little tricky to do. Crew 3 gets a little pricey. A little bit pricey. Not out of the question by any means, but a little bit pricey. So here, I think our best play is to play Implement and Ice Over on the 3/4. And since this isn't going to be able to block anything effectively, it could trade with the Aether Poisoner if we really wanted to. Just go ahead and get him for 4 damage. This is what we do. And then our opponent plays another creature that's big enough to crew the Iron Tread Crusher. Don't know if it's correct for them to make it a 5/4. It kind of looks on the surface like this trades for the Shipwreck Moray pretty easily, but go ahead and choose to just draw 2 there using 1 mana rather than spending 4 mana effectively to reverse engineer. Just seems like we're going to need to answer things on the board in a more timely fashion. We'll save this for later, if we can get to later. And so this is fine. We can threaten to block there, and then we've got 5 mana. Probably play out Wind Drake plus Shielded Aether Thief. We don't have an artifact on board, so this is just a 1/2. Yeah, we'll just do that. Do have some energy around right now, so we can eventually block with Aether Thief and draw a card. I'm going to place another creature that can crew the Iron Tread Crusher. And again, they don't want the servos. I don't know. Servos seem like they'd be just fine right here. But, so we go. My dog wants to say hi. How are you, Amy? You okay? Good? You approve of my choices? You approve of all my choices, especially the ones that put food in your bed. Okay. Alright. So, again, we're getting beat down real good. And just kind of have to gonna block. Go ahead. Aether Thief isn't doing much on this board. Everything's got, even this has 4 power. So we'll just go ahead and get a chump block in, save us some life, give us some flexibility. We do block there. You do have the option of blocking the Aether Poisoner. Seems like with the 4/2 Menace on the board, we need more. Just having more creatures on board is probably preferable. So we do this, we get our energy, we make the trade there. We're at 9. It's not looking great. Choose at this point. So we're going to have to cast this Reverse Engineer and get us into something that can do something, as they say. I want to play out the Torch Gauntlet first. It makes the Inventor's Apprentice much better, and also helps pay for Reverse Engineer, so we start with that. Reverse Engineer, draw 2 cards. We need to play out the Inventor's Apprentice to try and do some work, and then something bad happens. Something very bad happens. Monsters Onslaught just wipes our board. They attack us down to 2, and we're in trouble. Now, so we're not quite dead yet. Not quite. So we can Fateful Showdown and kill the Maulfist squad, hopefully turning off the Iron Tread Crusher for a little bit, and then we'll have 3 new cards to work with. It's an option. I decide that we're far enough behind here. I want to try and get greedy, play Quicksmith Spy, and try and draw. If I draw into another land, I'll be able to just having the Quicksmith Spy on board as a 2/3 blocker, being another card deeper, I think, and just so that it does turn the draw 3 to draw 2, but then we're not only discarding these 2 relatively mech cards. I guess I could also just play the Renegade map first. Yeah, I don't know if I want to crack the Renegade map. No, yeah, I want to crack the Renegade map. I was thinking of Quicksmith, but we already have a Torch Gauntlet available. I make the greedy play, so let me just do the math. We have 21 cards left in the library. We're running 16 lands. There's 7 on board. That leaves 9. 9. This is probably wrong. It's probably just better to just go ahead and fire off the Fateful Showdown and then just see 3 new cards and see what happens. So we do make the greedy play, and we get punished. And we're not technically dead yet. It's another reason to make the greedy play if you're not quite dead yet. So you play the Weldfast Monitor, and then opponent cycles their Unbridled Growth and hunts the weak, and then this is menacing, and we only have 1 blocker. So we are dead. So if we had done the Fateful Showdown instead, we would have drawn 3 cards. I guess we can't do that in the replay. But we'd have 3 cards. This would be dead. We still have to deal with the Aether Poisoner and anything that can crew that. So sideboarding. We actually do sideboard. In this matchup, we choose to sideboard in 1 negate, primarily for these Hunt the Weak, Unbridled, or Monsters Onslaught, and this Crusher that all killed us pretty good. And I choose to sideboard out the Shielded Aether Thief. I'm not sure if this is just not as great a card as I thought it was. This might not be the right deck for it. You want to just do this in a more energy-heavy deck, I guess, or more artifact. We do have some energy stuff. It's not a terrible card, especially, I mean, an 0/4 blocker does a fair bit of work in some matchups, just not the ones we ever seem to face. So there's that. We go on to game 2. We are on the play, and this hand is fine. It's not great. Need to draw some lands. Just still not hitting lands. Play the Swooper, get that on, and they play Thriving Rats. I choose to play Spark of Creativity on the Rats. The only other play we could make this turn to be Ice Over, but this gives us either if it hits a spell that kills the Thriving Rats, that's fine. If it hits a land, that's better. Like we just want to hit our land drops. Hitting land drops is muy importante, even in America. All right, so we do that. We attack. Getting a little greedy here, choosing not to make servos until we have Salivating Gremlins on the battlefield and attacking, because turning this into a 4/3 trample or bigger is very, very good. very nice for a 2-drop. So we attack. They attack us back. They thrive a little bit. They missed their third land drop, so that's great for us. Options here, we could try and play Implement of Invention just to get us deeper to hit our land drops, but the fact that our opponent is missing their land drops means I want to punish them. So I'm gonna attack, not make a gremlin, and play the salivating, or yeah, not make a servo and play the salivating gremlins. Second main phase. Opponent goes for more rats. They attack, and we draw land. So we have the option, we can play the Moray. Doesn't seem like it does a ton right here. We can play Implement and crack it. Or I think the best play is to ice over, put the 3/4 on ice, and then play Torch Gauntlet and make it a servo token. This hits for 6 and 7. That's puts our opponent at 11, unless they want to jump and just save 2 damage. Doesn't seem great for them. So we go ahead and do that. Opponent does hit the third land drop and just plays a 3/2 with a little graveyard bonus. No big deal. Now here, I think I got get greedy. I think what I should just do here is play Windrake and equip this to the flyer, and then yeah, probably not attack with the salivating gremlins. But then I have my opponent's at 8, and I have 5 power worth of flyers on board in 2 different bodies. So that seems like the best line. I think what I end up doing is I just play the Moray. Yeah, just attack for 1 and play the Moray. I mean, it's an imperfect line, but probably we get the job done, and our opponent just... It also, yeah. Opponent is just desperate. They play just, yeah, they're... what is it? Whatever. 3/3 for 4. Doesn't do a ton. Go ahead and take Implement of Examination, and this time we choose not to be too greedy for once, and just equip the Torch Gauntlet to get in for more damage. Attack with everything here. This gets into 6/3. Probably, right, it's blocked by the Lawless Broker, I would assume. And they kind of have to, so this is hitting for 3, this tramples for 4, 7, so they have to block this. They could probably, I don't know, it's probably better for them to trade here, but I guess they want to get into turn this into a 4/4, which is reasonable. We use 1 energy and turn this into a 2/3, and opponent is dead. Alright, so the final game, made one more tweak to the sideboarding. I decided to summon the draw, add the thief, and just take out the reverse engineer. Just don't want to get completely overwhelmed while the reverse engineer is rotting in my hand and I'm unable to cast it. So this is a perfectly fine hand. Opponent does that. Go ahead and play out our map and crack the map, get a red. Just going to go ahead and play out the Inventor's Apprentice. The Torch Gauntlet is the more mana efficient play, but we're going to follow up with a Weldfast Monitor anyway, so this just puts more pressure on our opponent. We play a Daredevil Dragster, draw another land, whatever. Look at this, beat down. I don't want to double block this, really. It wouldn't be the worst option, necessarily. But just also, it's not necessarily true that this is going to be turned on, so just get in our 2 damage, and if we take 4 damage, we take 4 damage. Play Aether Herder, and I have a brain fart here. I go through trying to figure out what I want to do. Do I want to activate the Menace? Do I want to play the Torch Gauntlet so I can Quicksmith Spy the next time? Do I want to just play Torch Gauntlet? Do I want to Torch Gauntlet and Eager Construct? Do I want a Moray? Do I want to I decide to go ahead and just... So the brain fart I made is I forgot that vehicles can block. So I play the Torch Gauntlet equipped to the Inventor's Apprentice and attack with both of these, thinking if he wants to trade the Aether Herder for either of one of my creatures, that's fine. They'll take some damage. Now, what I should have done... It's a little subjective here. I think maybe just playing out the Moray would be preferable. I think I can actually even attack with the Weldfast. No. I was going to say I can force them to activate the Dragster and then give it Menace. But that's... I mean, there's no cost for them. He's just tapping a creature. So I would rather go ahead and play out a 4-drop than maybe like Torch Gauntlet, whatever. So that mistake happens. Opponent does this. Opponent thinks around. What are you doing? You're in the 2-0 bracket, aren't you? And then this happens. That dies. We got our opponent's turn. We have a little chat with our opponent. Pro tip: vehicles can block. We did at least succeed in making our opponent extremely confused. Usually, confused opponents are losing opponents. So, I mean, we had that going for us. To not have our brain working, they go ahead and just use up the Dragster, get us in 4 points, gives them a little draw, and they play an Iron Tread Crusher. So at this point, we kind of have to just take a relatively aggressive line. I guess we don't have to, but I feel like this thing is just light. I mean, our opponent has 5 cards in hand. They're probably going to be able to crew this relatively consistently, and we don't have very good options to block it. I think it's better if we just, at this point, try and race our opponent, which, I mean, it'd be a lot easier to race your opponent if you had, you know, a potential 3/2 Menace on board. So, but still, you got to do what you got to do. We're able to play Windrake. We've got Torch Gauntlet to get in a fair bit of damage. We do get to attack for 4 this turn, put our opponent at 10. So, seems like this is a winnable race. Play the Eager Construct before the Windrake, so they don't know about it. And I think we square that to the bottom. Yes, I scried to the bottom. They scried to the top. So, play out the Windrake. Opponent crews this. And that monstrous onslaught is pretty much game right there. It's going to be real tough for us to come back from that. Just took out 2 of our creatures. We're just left with this 2/2. There's a 6/6 beating down on us. We don't really have any option except to... The Shipwreck Moray doesn't do a ton on this board against the 6/6 or potentially a 3/3. So I just want to equip the Torch Gauntlet and just try and somehow manage to sneak in 10 points of damage before they can get 10 points of damage on us. So we do this, equipping there, attack. Possible I should have gone ahead and drawn a card, but then Hunt the Weak wrecks us pretty good. So, yeah, then that happens. Get another Quicksmith Spy. So draw a card. Not sure what I'm trying to hit. It would be... So, like, potentially if we could hit whatever, a Spark of Creativity, clear out the Aether Poisoner, attack for 4, puts them at 2. They can force us to chump block on the way back, or if they can just crew a vehicle, we die. But, yeah. try and grasping at straws when that's all you got. We attack. Kind of forces the block on their side, because if we have a shock and they don't block, we just win. I think it's okay to trade the Aether Poisoner for the Eager Construct in this spot. Perhaps not, mostly because we just don't want to do that. But also, like, if they choose not to block, we've got them. If they chose not to block, we'd have a much better chance of being able to sneak in 2 points somehow. So that happens. We play a Swooper. And they find another way to crew their Iron Tread Crusher. And that leaves us in double chump block mode. They're making a servo, which is fine. We're pretty dead here. Just going to play it out. Oh yeah. We do it sweet. Need all this energy. Go ahead and equip this up. And then put all that on the stack. And then we lose. So that's that. I think we would have had actually a, I don't know, Hunt the Weak and Monstrous Onslaught. We're probably going to be able to swing the game for our opponent, but we would have had a fighting chance if I hadn't just thrown away my Fest Monitor for basically no value. Getting a counter off of the Devil Dragster is pretty marginal value. So that's that. Deck was pretty sweet, and this format is I enjoy this format quite a bit, and I'll probably have some more videos for you pretty soon, actually, because format's sweet.